Here's the problem with a lot of lower-end pneumatic couplers when it comes to them being used to hold a Bowden tube in place. When you shove a Bowden tube into this coupler, it has teeth that grip that tube so it doesn't move up and down. However, on cheaper pneumatic couplers, it doesn't prevent the tube from spinning. And when that happens, those teeth cut into the tube. And strangely enough, it causes the inner part of the Bowden tube to prolapse out of itself. This happens all the time. It's probably a good reason to try a direct drive if you're tired of this happening, because this one happened on my extruder side. But it's happened many times down here on the hot end as well. When it happens on the hot end, well, you get massive clogs, because this prolapsed portion has a diameter that is much tighter than 1.75 millimeters, which is the diameter of the filament that I use. That means the filament can't get pushed through the Bowden tube, and thus it gets stuck in the hot end. In this case, I've never seen it like this before, but my Bowden tube was sticking out like this, and there was a hole in the Bowden tube. And that hole made it so that the Bowden tube was sticking out to the side, and filament had been shoved out the side wall of the Bowden tube. So it was essentially like this. I've never seen that before. When a Bowden tube fails due to a cheap pneumatic coupler, it fails spectacularly, and that's not a good thing. Just in the middle of a print several hours in, and once you have a failure like that, you no longer have filament being shoved through the tube, you don't have any extrusion, and then there goes your print. So, what can be done to curb this issue? Well, I'll start out with using good pneumatic couplers. A good pneumatic coupler shouldn't have any play in it whatsoever. So it shouldn't move up or down, and it shouldn't allow the tube to spin in place. Unfortunately, there's a lot of these cheap pneumatic couplers. The ones that come from Creality for your hot end and your extruder are pretty garbage. This particular coupler came from Ficetech, and it's used on this end. Now, this was a cheap BMG clone. I didn't expect much from it, but I didn't expect it to fail the way it did. I've never seen filament shoot out the side wall of a Bowden tube before. There's also another problem. These Bowden tubes that are from Capricorn, they're good Bowden tubes, but I suspect that there may be counterfeits out there, and those counterfeits pose several serious problems. One, those counterfeits might not be as durable, and that's a problem, because if you print at temperatures in excess of 250 degrees Celsius, well, the off-gassing from the material on the Bowden tube can be toxic. First starting with sensitive creatures like birds, moving up to not being safe for humans. If it is not a genuine Capricorn Bowden tube, there's no real data indicating whether that knockoff is safe to use at those higher temperatures. Now, you can definitely avoid this by using an all-metal hot end, but there are pros and cons to each type of hot end that you use. In my case, I have found that the Bowden tubes between myself and several friends have inconsistencies in them, and we don't know if some of them are genuine Capricorn. Sometimes the hole is not in the center. The inner diameter hole is not centered. It's offset to the side. We've also had issues where along the run of a Bowden tube, it suddenly becomes too thin on the inner diameter, and filament has to drag against the inside of the walls and use excess force to push through instead of slipping down nice and easily. So if you're experiencing those issues, you may need to contact Capricorn. Capricorn does warranty their Bowden tubes 2 years from the date of purchase, and I have actually received a genuine replacement from Capricorn. I haven't installed it because I had some left on this particular run, but I believe I'm going to switch it out now. And 2, use good pneumatic couplers. They're not expensive. It's an annoying thing to have to buy, but it can save you a lot of headache, as I am finding out.